You have to be a born collector. You can't create a collector, I don't think. And so as a sort of teenager, I would go around various branches of W.H. Smith's, sort of collecting sets of Penguin paperbacks and James Bond paperbacks and so on. And then I realized, you could just, even in the pre-internet days, you could just order those. They were new books or whatever. So I started collecting second-hand books, and in a very eclectic way, just buying this thing and that thing that I fancied. And then in the end, I decided you have to specialize in something. And so didn't want to specialize in science because that was my day job. So I decided to specialize in English-Judaica, and it all developed from there. Yes, well, when I used to come home from school, when I was 17, 18, on the tube from Edgware to Golders Green, I would often go on one more stop and go to the bookshops in Hampstead. And so I bought there a book about the famous Jewish philanthropist of the 19th century, Sir Moses Montefiore, printed when he was 100 years old in 1884, and I bought that for £1. So it's probably worth a little bit more now, but that was probably my earliest acquisition that's still part of my collection. I suppose if you go back to sort of the beginning of the Anglo-Jewish community after the resettlement in 1656. So in 1679, the leader of the German and Polish Jewish community, Benjamin Cohen, bought a piece of land in East London. And the deed of him doing that is in the Jewish Museum. But actually, it just says he buys this piece of land. I have a deed dated the next day in which he gives the land to the members of the Jewish synagogue in Duke's Place. And so that deed from 1679 is really the foundation document of the Anglo-Jewish community, because it's the first cemetery of the very first synagogue, which was called later the Great Synagogue. So it's the first mention of that synagogue, and the burial ground still exists today in Alderney Road in East London. He came to me and we started talking, and I have a very big collection of things called orders of service, which are produced for particular occasions to be used in the synagogue for the prayers, say, on the death of someone or celebrating a particular occasion. So we came up with the idea for the 150 years of the United Synagogue, why not illustrate that with 150 orders of service from that period, 1870 to 2020, and then to put around that various other objects and books and papers that link to the various themes. So that was how it came. But it occurred to me that my collection spans the whole history of the chief rabbinate, which goes back to 1705, when the first chief rabbi was appointed, so much older than the United Synagogue. So I'm doing a book now which is called 10 Chief Rabbis, about the 10 that have been from Rabbi Aaron Hart in 1705 right up to the late Lord Sachs. And so illustrating in the same way, not particularly with orders of service, but just illustrating the life and career of each chief rabbi through material in my collection about that chief rabbi. And that has the support of the present chief rabbi, Rabbi Mervis, who's very involved in the project.